teachers and guys, Sincere here. Today we are going to present for the mini project on the topic of graph interpretation. Myself, Su Sincere, and my group members No Aino Amani and also Shaifa Aisha would be involved in this presentation. Now, this is our group. Now, this is the title that our group has been chosen, which is crime. We get this source from the Prime Minister's Department, which also the Department of Statistics Malaysia. And since my friends has introduced for this crime incident, so I would like to just jump off into my parts, which is objective. So that's actually so important that we need to determine and interpreting the graph. Let's start from minor. Minor can like the personalities such as preferred hobbies or food among teenage, and also like trend in nowadays marketing, also online sales in various platforms. We could through interpreting the graph, we can determine the sales target that we want to maintain or whatever. And next move to the more major is like economic growth of a country, such as the unemployment rate and also increasing of infectious disease cases in different countries.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Ainu Amani with Yama Ajazi. My registration number is 03DK80F1088. I will continue with the next slide. Firstly, I will go through my first graph according the highest violent and property crime case by administrative Malaysia, recording the highest rate in Petaling Jaya, which is 1,500 in 2019 and 1,536 in 2020. Following in Klang, the rate is 677 in 2019 and 656 in 2020. The third is Gombak. The rate is 557 in 2019 and 504 in 2020. And the last is Melaka Tengah, 353 in 2019 and 216 in 2020. My second graph is line graph. According to the highest violent and property crime case by administrative Malaysia, record the highest rate in Petaling Jaya, which is 1,500 in 2019 and 1,536 in 2020. Following in Klang, the rate is 677 in 2019 and 656 in 2020. The third is Gombak. The rate is 557 in 2019 and 504 in 2020. And the last is Melaka Tengah, 353 in 2019 and 260 in 2020.
The title is Children Involved in Crime by Gender Malaysia 2019 and 2020. The first quarter, 6.4% is boy. The second quarter, 10.5% is boy and girl. The biggest sector is 75.5% is girl. The title is Children Involved in Crime by Gender Malaysia 2019 and 2020. For the 2020 is color blue and for 2019 is color pink. For gender boy and girl, 2020 is 5,342 and 2019 decreased to 4,833. For gender boy, for the 2020 is 4,833 and decreased at 2019 is 4,543. For the last one, gender is girl. 2020 is 509 and decrease at 2019 is 219.
Next. So now I would like to brief some tips that how we want to write a graph more precisely. So it is important that we keep in mind that our graph should as tidy as can be. So what actually tidy stands for? Tidy is T stands for trend. I stands for item. D stands for data, and Y stands for years. So these four elements should be included in your graph interpretation. So let me take an example. Let's take this as an example. Trend. First is tidy, right? Tidy T trend. You can solve from this, which is 95.7% to 95.3%. You can solve the slight drop. You can solve a slight drop of the new drug addicts. Drop slightly, or also a slight drop. You can solve a slight drop like that. And this we call trend. And for item this is the item, which is meal. You can solve from this. The light blue stands for meal. Meal has, you can solve, there is the change, which is we also call the trend, is drop slightly from 2019 to 2020. 2019 and 2020 this called year. And the one most important was also is called data. You have to list that how it is drop how slightly is it is. So you have to show that the value difference or the actual value. So the sample example, the sample answer for this was like the visual display for drug addicts by sex Malaysia 2019 and 2020. And from the graph above, there is the slight drop for the mere drug addicts by 0.4%, which is from 95.7% to 95.3% from year 2019 to year 2020. This is the complete answer for this graph. Well, for this, you can see that there is no trend because it is only 1 year. There's only 1 year. There's no trend. So in these cases, we just simply describe, for example, this less than a quarter, and this we can say it is the major portion, and this for the data, which is 80% and this 20%. You can state also more than 3/3. And instead for these items, always remember that these have to put it all in your sample writing of graph. It was the same. For this was the same as this. Just I contribute for two graphs to show the difference of how we convey with the graph. Then both use pie chart and also this bar chart. Yes. How can I say that I just use for bar chart and pie chart instead of using for the line graph? That's to say, because we only have 2 years, means the difference only 1 year, and after we like constructing a line graph, we can't see the trend visible. Yes. Like for example, let me show an example. So even after we construct for a line graph, it is quite invisible for us to see the trend of the graph, how it's moving, like example this. For example, 95.7% and this 95.30% this percentage. For example, 2019, 2020, like this. It's just only one line and it is quite invisible. Yes. So you can see more like how after the change, how the speed of change like this. So we seldomly use for line graph if there is the year or item less than 2, less than 3.
Everything happens, there's the reason. Therefore, through collecting this data and analyze with the graph, we could discern the factor of the causation reason easily and thus to have the appropriate improvement.
That's all for me. Thank you.